Top 5 historical events that shape the modern world. Understanding India's progress requires studying modern history from the 17th century to the present. This time saw many key events that shaped India today. To understand modern India, one must study its modern past. How did independence, state creation, and social changes affect modern India? We'll go across time to discover the events and milestones that shaped contemporary India. This understanding will illuminate the nation's history, present, and future. Event 1. Moon landing. The first human moon landing occurred during Apollo 11. Key components of the expedition and their tremendous influence on research and exploration. Key astronauts: Neil Armstrong, mission commander. Armstrong said, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." 2. Buzz Aldrin, lunar module pilot. Aldrin worked with Armstrong on lunar investigations and equipment installation. Number 3. Michael Collins, command module pilot. Collins kept the crew safe in lunar orbit. Achievements: 1. Lunar landing. The lunar module carried Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin to the moon on July 20th, 1969, while Michael Collins orbited overhead. About 21 hours were spent on the moon. Number 2. Scientific discoveries. The expedition gathered lunar samples and performed experiments. These samples illuminated the moon's geology, composition, and history. Number 3. Technological advances. The Apollo 11 mission demonstrated human space travel. It improved navigation, spacesuit design, and spaceship technology. Number 4. Inspiration. Apollo 11 inspired generations of scientists and explorers. Human inventiveness and teamwork in space were shown. Number 5. Global and national pride. President John F. Kennedy's aim of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely was achieved, marking a milestone in U.S. history. It promoted international collaboration in space exploration. The Apollo 11 mission marks a milestone in science and exploration. It deepened our understanding of the moon and inspired future space exploration. Event 2. Berlin Wall falls down. The collapse of the Berlin Wall in November 1989 ended the Cold War and changed geopolitics. Number 1. End of the Cold War. The falling Berlin Wall symbolized the end of the Cold War, a decades-long ideological and political stalemate between the U.S. and USSR. It signaled a reduction in hostilities and a shift towards cooperation between these nations. Number 2. German reunification. The wall's collapse allowed East and West Germany to reunite. German unification occurred on October 3, 1990. Reuniting a country split over 40 years was a tremendous feat. Number 3. Eastern Europe democratization. After the Berlin Wall fell, Eastern European nations followed. It led to democratization and the fall of communist governments in Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and Romania. This ended Soviet dominance in Eastern Europe. Number 4. New cooperation era. The collapse of the Berlin Wall changed international relations. The Warsaw Pact and the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991. The globe entered a new age of collaboration, weapons control, and peace. The collapse of the Berlin Wall marked the end of the Cold War and led to Germany's reunification and Eastern Europe's democratization. It led to a new era of international collaboration and the fall of the Soviet Union. Event 3. Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombings. World War II ran from 1939 until 1945. Several major events led to the use of atomic bombs. An overview: World War II events. Number 1. Outbreak. Germany invaded Poland in September 1939. causing the UK and France to declare war on Germany. This sparked huge power alignments and confrontations. Number 2. European theater. The European War saw Adolf Hitler's Nazis grow power. The Battle of Britain and Germany's 1941 invasion of the Soviet Union. 3. Pacific theater. After Japan's expansionist ambitions in the Pacific led to the December 1941 Pearl Harbor attack, the U.S. entered the war. Battles like May Day and island-hopping operations raged in the Pacific theater. Number 4. Holocaust. The Nazi extermination of millions of Jews and other minorities is one of World War II's worst atrocities. Decision to use the atomic bombs. Japan surrendered after the U.S. launched atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. The ethical and military argument over using these bombs continues. Long-term effects. 1. UN formation. World War II led to the creation of the United Nations to avert future wars. 2. The Cold War. The Cold War, a decades-long geopolitical confrontation between the US and the USSR, followed World War II. 3. Rebuild. After World War II, the Marshall Plan rebuilt Western Europe and boosted economic growth. 4. Global changes. The conflict changed boundaries, sparked decolonization, and ended colonial empires. The deployment of atomic weapons, the creation of the UN, the Cold War, and major political changes resulted from World War II. Historical debates continue about atomic bomb usage. Event 4. World War I. World War I causes. 1. Nationalism. European nationalism and rivalries. Notably between Germany, France, and Britain, increased tensions. Number 2. Imperialism. Competition for colonies and resources, especially in Africa and Asia, caused strife. 3. Militarism. Major powers developing big armies and fleets produced a dangerous atmosphere. 4. Complex coalitions emerged, led by the Triple Entente, France, Russia, Britain, and Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Italy. 5. Assassination. A Serbian nationalist killed Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary in June 1914, starting the war. World War I effects. 1. Human cost. The conflict killed millions and caused great pain. 2. The Treaty of Versailles. The 1919 Treaty of Versailles punished Germans severely, causing economic hardship and discontent. 3. Empire dissolution. The conflict brought down the Austria-Hungarian, Ottoman, and Russian empires. 4. Border redrawing. New states developed in Europe, changing the continent's geography. 5. Geopolitical shifts. The conflict reduced European war and laid the way for the 20th century superpowers like the US and USSR. 6. League of Nations. The League of Nations failed to avoid future wars. Impact on geopolitics. World War I weakened European nations, created new superpowers, and set the stage for World War II. European empires disintegrated, and boundaries were redrawn, causing instability and future battles. The battle also underlined the significance of international collaboration, resulting in the League of Nations, predecessor to the UN. World War I laid the groundwork for complicated 20th century geopolitics. Thank you so much for joining, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content. We'll see you in the next video.